Hello and welcome to the North Bank podcast. I'm your host, Holly. I'm joined by unsmiling gentlemen this evening, Stef and Chris. Hi, guys.
All right.
Good evening.
You're a bit chirpy, Chris.
Yeah. Well, as I just explained, I'd had a really a boring day stuck in a stuffy office doing some work. I shouldn't say too much, but a podcast recording. So this is light relief in comparison.
Bloody hell. A bit of a masochist if you're seeing this as light relief. If you look at my notes, I've divided this podcast into 3 sections. Rant number 1, rant number 2, and rant number 3.
Well, that's why any listeners at the start of the show should subscribe to us on YouTube at North Bank Pod, which I'm now reminding you, Holly, that you need to mention at the start of the show.
I think this should be an ongoing thing where I deliberately forget so you can jump in with a comical reminder.
Fine. There you go.
Yeah.
At North Bank Pod on YouTube. Give us a subscribe. Cheers.
We can run with that. Well, look,
This
we're
could be a
recording
good
this on Monday evening. It's 24 hours after the Man City game at the Emirates. It's weird because normally when you score a 93rd minute equaliser against a major rival, you're somewhat elated. But at the time, I was delighted he scored, obviously, and I was just thinking, right, come on, one more. I walked away from that ground yesterday, and every minute today that I've thought about it, it's 2 points dropped. It's another case of what might have been, opportunity missed. Same way I felt after the Liverpool game as well. I know other people felt like that against after yesterday, but not after the Liverpool game. But I did feel like that after the Liverpool game. We said it in our WhatsApp group that the team selection against Liverpool was a bit negative in midfield, and same again today. If you can sum up like in as few words as possible, because we will obviously go into it. How are you guys feeling like 24 hours later, Steph? Like, what's the mood?
This is the grumpiest I've felt about a game for a long time, basically. Even the Liverpool game, yes, I think that was affected by conceding late, but the team selection and generally the approach, I can sort of rationalise a bit.
Away to Liverpool.
Away to Liverpool,
yeah.
Fine. Okay, but yeah, yesterday, we like you say, we should be really buoyant. We scored a late equaliser against Manchester City, and that should be right. But no, something shifted in my mentality where that wasn't quite enough, which itself is probably something to praise slightly, possibly.
Yes.
But just grumpy all day. The more I hear about the game, the more I think about the game, the more I read about the game, just winds me up even more. I want it to be over.
Chris.
Yeah.
Chris.
I've gone on a sort of media blackout. I didn't want to expose myself to it, but similar. There are many parallels to the Liverpool game, as I'm sure we'll hit on. For me, again, missed opportunity is the overwhelming feeling now.
Yeah, for me, there's no other way of looking at it, and I took the opposite approach to you, Chris. I jumped into social media because I was craving an alternative viewpoint that made sense to me, not just like shouting at clouds kind of viewpoint. I found a few little snippets that I will share that maybe will allow us to move on, not see it differently, but just to move on, like kind of process it and move on. Shall we start with the team news? Because my first rant is rant number 1 is entitled Arteta. After Bilbao, he said finishers could be more important than the starting 11. Yeah, they bloody well will, mate, if you keep picking a starting 11 that's quite negative. And you'll be relying on the bench. We said that bench will beast any other bench in the Premier League. But was that starting 11 good enough to beat the City starting 11? That was our worry pre-kickoff. And what we're talking about is Merino and Trossard. And I say Trossard to a far lesser degree than Merino. And this is not a dig at Merino at all. Apart from one occasion when he lost possession, like he didn't make any glaring errors. but you have got the best defensive backline in the Premier League, possibly Europe. In front of those, and they've got Raya behind them. In front of those, you've got Zubimendi and Rice. There is not another game that warrants the inclusion of Merino there in front of that. That is such a solid defensive unit. And it's not 100% go at Arteta. He did at least acknowledge that and make a change at half time. I wanted a change at half time. I didn't expect a change at half time. He made two. One of those was enforced with Madueke, which is like another great, fantastic. Sounds like he might be looking at a spell on the sidelines. But at least he changed it. He hooked Merino and he brought Eze on. And lo and behold, shock, surprise, who'd have thought it? We suddenly started to play better because we had attacking players in attacking positions. I mean, it's like rocket science, isn't it? The other stat about Merino and Rice, on match day 2, they came out with one that when those two players have started together, we've won 1 out of 10 games. Merino and Rice starting in the same team.
Wow.
I've got a slightly different stat. Tabs from the Grove passed it on to me, but it's from FB reference, and it's when Rice and Merino started together, we've played 12 games, we've won 3, drawn 5 and lost 4. So whichever one of those two stats you look at, there is no argument for Rice and Merino starting together. So that was the thing. Now the Trossards, if Eze had started, I would have acknowledged Trossard maybe okay, fine. I would have preferred Martinelli over Trossard. Again, if you're talking about defensive solidity, that would have helped out a little bit there to allow Eze to come into the team as well. But for me, the Merino inclusion was the talking point before kickoff. Like before kickoff, there's no captain hindsight here. Before kickoff, everybody. I didn't drive to the game yesterday. I got the train, got off at Finsbury Park at about 3:15, and the walk to the ground was just a kind of fascinating repetition of conversations I kept hearing because the team people were getting the team news, and it was like, "What, Merino's playing? Where's Eze on the bench? Trossard's left. Mate, that's even worse than we thought. We thought it would be bad enough if Merino and Martinelli were starting, but Trossard." So, and that was it. Just every single conversation was following the same path, if you like. Like I kind of had a desire to not to view Arteta as an overly cautious manager. So I went into the match by match breakdown in last season for the games in which we dropped points in. There are no excuses in this game. There was no dodgy refereeing decision. There was no injury crisis. There was no single moment that would have caused Arteta to have a little kind of panic and be overly defensive. So but what other conclusion can we draw than we gave them far too much respect, and City came to us with an inferiority complex. Here's a little tick for Arteta. He's created that. But listen to that. City came to us with an inferiority complex. That is mental. A City team have absolutely traumatised us over the years. And Arteta, another little nod to Arteta, the first manager to go 5 games unbeaten against Pep. And I wonder how much of that was preying on his team selection as well. If I don't lose, I'm the first manager to go 5 unbeaten. But Guardiola then, and again, this is another compliment to Arteta in one sense. What did Guardiola say? Sometimes you have to defend because the opposition are better. He said that. Post-match. But sometimes you have to attack because the opposition is inferior, is what I would say to Arteta in response to that. So, look, is it a rant at Arteta? It is sort of a rant. I don't understand that team selection, and those 2 points dropped are on him. Now, he did right his wrong at half time, but it shouldn't have taken that performance. It was the same performance against Liverpool with the same midfield selection. So it's like no surprise. So make some case for the defence, so to speak.
I would take it one stage further, actually, and say it goes beyond the team selection, because I think had he even fielded Eze from the start, there would still be a cautiousness about our approach to a game of this magnitude. In his eyes, like he sets out against the big teams, he's got this thing about maybe having been thrashed by them before so many times. There is an inherent kind of cautiousness about the start of a game to see how it pans out before we get more expansive, perhaps.
Do you think he can change? Do you think he can move
like
away
you
from
said,
that? No, but from the start in games.
From the start
in games.
That's another issue. I don't know where someone may well trawl back in history and say, well, there was this game and that game, but I can't remember.
Let me ask you a question. We're not going to talk about Newcastle because we'll do a pod on Thursday where we'll look at that. But he's got an almost instant opportunity, another big game away from home. Do you think stubborn Arteta will start with Zubimendi, Rice and Merino in that game? Or do you think he will actually take the lessons learned and start with Rice, Zubimendi and Eze?
It depends on injuries, doesn't it, as well?
No, but okay, they're all fit. So, we've got no more injuries. Madueke, Saka will start instead of Madueke if Madueke's out, which we suspect he might be. But just focusing on those that midfield three, assuming everybody is available that's currently available, and that was available before so Ødegaard's still injured. Let's assume Ødegaard, because Ødegaard will play instead of Merino if Ødegaard is fit. But let's assume, because the question, this segment is Arteta. It's just on Arteta and his decision making and his attitude and approach to big games. And Newcastle away, we lost there. Did we lose there last season? We did. And we lost there the season before. The game shall not be talked about. So we struggle against them. Home and away, we struggle against them. So, Chris, do you think he will go with Merino again, or do you think he'd start with Eze?
Well, he should go with, but simply because it's a balanced team to have an attacking midfielder, creative, hub in that 10.
Do you think he will?
I think he will. I'll put my neck on the line and say he will, because I just think he probably realises that now, having broken Eze into that 10 position, and it worked. He wasn't spectacular until he got the assist, which was a thing of beauty, but it suited him. It's straight away you could see it suited him. He just got his head up more and was playing with a lot more kind of a rhythm that was better than the Merino's in that position. So for me, I think he will.
Steph, you were shaking your head.
Yeah, I don't think he will against Newcastle next week. I think
he'll go again.
Pardon?
He'll go again with Merino,
Rice, Zubimendi. Like I say, the caveat would be Ødegaard's fitness. Newcastle are an intense team, especially in midfield. They're aggressive, violent, tipping over at certain points as well.
We're not talking about a player who has no experience of that. Eze's Premiership proven, he can play in that environment. Like that shouldn't be have any bearing on Arteta's selection.
But it may do, and
so is he then costing us points?
I don't know. I do wonder, but I don't want to be too outlandish in what I say to a certain extent, because I don't know. Look, next week against Newcastle, it's an away game. They are not conceding many goals at all, but nor are they scoring many goals at all. So little things like set pieces are going to be suddenly important. And he probably trusts Merino to defend set pieces better than Eze. So he'll factor that into his team selection as much as anything. I don't like it because I think a bit more dynamism and pace and guile is going to do for Newcastle rather than trying to outmuscle them.
Play to our strengths.
Yeah,
like we've got this is not like throwing caution to the wind or just gung ho. Like it's a back four
still a great
that is the best in the league, and Zubimendi and Rice in front of them. Like that is, and that's not, and the other players are hard workers and defensively sound as well in a team. As is Eze as well. It's like it's I mean, the equaliser was an important goal for us and Martinelli, and we'll talk about it later. It's an important goal for Arteta. But if he picks the same team, I mean, what's that definition of insanity? and the same, and we come away with the same sense. Missed opportunity. Even if it's a draw at Newcastle, some might see that as a reasonable result. I now think that we have to win at Newcastle because we've dropped the points against Liverpool and City. A 5 point, I don't know who Liverpool are playing next week, but a 5 point gap to Liverpool now. Don't really want that to go out any further. And a win at Newcastle, I think, and we've had a really tough 6 games, of course. And a win at Newcastle would put us on 13 points from 18. And I think that was par for the course that we all said before those 6 games. But there's a lot more context now. You like the word narrative. There's a lot more going into this selection before even the kickoff. The selection's going to set the tone. And that was my issue at Anfield. That we allowed Liverpool to come into the game, and their magic moment came because they had the momentum at the time. And yesterday, City are no Man City of 2 years ago. Like, they're not. And that's Guardiola knows that. Guardiola knows that, and we'll come on to my City rant. I won't go into that yet, but I don't know. What was my question?
Well, who would he start against Newcastle? I just think it's about balance, and that it just makes sense to have a proper attacking midfield. Look, Merino's a good player, but he's an off-the-ball player. He's an interceptor. He's a destroyer, and then he releases it, and but he's not the creator that you need in that 10.
There's no link between the midfield and the front 3. Like, what does Gyökeres do? Makes runs. Saka stays out wide. We don't know who'll be on the left. Trossard / Martinelli on the left. Well, Trossard comes deep. He could offer a bit of creativity, perhaps. Martinelli won't. So we don't have that. Who's Calafiori can be the maverick in the middle, but no. So and Newcastle will be, as you say, tight, compact. They'll give nothing away. We're having a go at Man City being Stoke Mark 2, but Newcastle are already there. So yeah, I don't know.
Can I talk about the selection a little bit more? Because you said about mindset and a kind of devil's advocate. I think what's played into his selection is the opposition, in the sense that he thought he was going to play a certain kind of Man City. And I think the changes at half-time was him realising that he wasn't playing that Man City, and therefore could be a little bit more progressive with the players that he chose. But there's also a genuine worry that he's using the new signings needing to bed in, possibly as a reason why, rather than trusting them to go out and do it. I think also that game plan. I'm all for, in some of those big games, looking to maybe keep things a little bit tight early on, but at the same time, look at the goal we conceded. Really sloppy goal. I made a point of watching it back because from our perspective, couldn't really see what had gone wrong.
Gabriel messed up, didn't he?
Yeah, but also, like, why doesn't Saliba move across and go to Haaland? Like, why is that the space?
He's got another, because there's another player outside of Reinders as well.
Yeah, I know, but still, like, Haaland.
Right, that's exactly my point on that. Is that I'd rather press Haaland because he's more likely to want to shoot and make him make the pass.
Yeah, and so what that then exposes, and this is a bit captain hindsight, is it's all well and good keeping the game tight, but if the opposition get an early goal like they did from a moment of sloppiness where you concede, all of a sudden you're now not armed with the tools to try and wrestle that back. So City can then just sit deep and just try and hit on the counter, which they did pretty effectively. It's one of Doku's better games that I've seen him have for City, because we sort of played into their idea. And what really frustrates me, and why I've been getting so worked up the more I think about it, is City played in a way that said to me, they've been looking at the way Arsenal play, so what we'll do is this, and that will nullify them. What we haven't done is look at what City do and think, well, how can we expose that? We set up that game like we were playing City from last season, or even more, the season before, where you have to be so watertight that to stop anything because they are so ruthless. Well, that wasn't this City. This City were a little bit disconnected at times. Sometimes they were sitting deep and would find it hard to progress forward. Other times they'd race forward and then could be exposed at the back. It's a new edition of their project as they sort of evolve into something else. It's no coincidence that they've got one of the ex-Liverpool coaches and all of a sudden they're a little bit more counter-attacking, and Guardiola's using tactics that aren't synonymous with Guardiola. But it's like we didn't sort of account for that, and I just found that really frustrating. That, yeah, like you say, and Merino, like you say, we're not attacking him specifically, but he's got a certain set of skills that actually isn't necessary when Rice and Zubimendi are there. He wants to metronome, like you said, Chris. He wants to intercept and then just play it all easy. What he's not going to do, like Waneri or Eze in particular, is receive the ball on the half turn and then dribble away from a player. Mm-hmm. He's just not going to do that. He doesn't do that. So we lose any sense of progression.
His instinct is to turn back and keep
to
it
a
safe,
point,
play it safe and maintain the ball.
And I said to you in the stands as we were watching it that it also felt that City were targeting him in possession. Basically, it looked like if Merino gets the ball in midfield, we swarm. That's what Man City were thinking. Whereas if Zubimendi and Rice get it, we drop and sit back. And it was just obvious where there were certain sort of weak points to us, and they targeted it, and it was an effective game plan. And it was a real stinker, that first half. It was really uninspiring. And to be
Madueke was the bright spark, wasn't he? Because he'd got the better of his fullback a couple of times and pulled back and there was no one there. And that frustrating thing where you need someone to anticipate. And again, maybe it's a sign of, us being a bit cautious, not wanting to, crash the box and throw a late runner in. It was just, what if they counter on us? That thing we always talk about of it's better to be have the opposition further back. We barely got behind them because of this thing of let them reset. Let's just recycle. Very cautious again. Don't counter too quickly.
Well, it's funny you say that because I know you said you're going to talk about Man City later. Guardiola effectively talked about that in his post-match press conference because he talked about his instinct in terms of defence. He didn't like, when he complimented Arsenal on making us defend, he was saying, that's not really what I want. Where do I want the ball? Away from my goal. Because that's, if it's further away from our goal, they can't score. It's that kind of mindset. And so this idea that they're suddenly turning into a team like Nuno's Forest that are going to draw you on and then punch you on the counter, I don't think that's comfortable with him yet, but we did force them back, but we forced them back to what end? We weren't getting past them, and if we did, there was no cutback, and it was all a bit meh.
It sounds very much like Arteta last season with that squad, with last season's squad. He needs to rotate and use the new players that he's got, like they're ceiling raisers. We dropped 60 million quid on Eze, and he's not starting a home game against one of our two title rivals. I mean, that's not right. I'm sorry, but a fully fit Isak isn't going to be on the bench for Liverpool against either Arsenal or City, home or away. It's just not going to happen. No, I know there's a bit of a difference in price there, but that's the point. It's like your main attacking, when you said, Chris, and I agree, Madueke did get into some good positions and cut the ball back. I kept thinking, a little voice of mine saying, we need to sign a striker. Because I did say to Stef at one point, at what point are we going to start having a conversation about Gyökeres and creating a bit of chaos himself? But it looks, I didn't rewatch the game or anything. I've seen a few of the highlights, but it did feel like the ball didn't stick to him a lot at all. It was bouncing off him, and he wasn't in front of his man, and he was out muscle. I should have looked. I don't know about the duels, but it didn't. I'd be surprised if he won more of his duels than lost. For example, I didn't see his physical presence. Now, and there was so little space. There was one little still from Match of the Day where Man City had 7 defenders in a line and 3 in front of him. It's like, well, we have to accept and acknowledge that Gyökeres is not going to have a lot of space in those circumstances, and that's fine. So it's probably why I haven't seen anybody get on his case, which is good, because I don't think they should be getting on his case. It for me, that game was on Arteta. You know, it's
Do the Arsenal team? Sorry. One more point. Do the Arsenal team look fit to you? I feel like we're lacking pace. I feel like there's not a lot of speed.
That's not necessarily a fitness thing, though, is it? That's just your profile of a player who's.
But Madueke's fast, and Martinelli has certainly looked lively the last 2 games.
I would say, from and it's not a physical thing; it's more a mental thing. Is look how good we are when we put pace on a pass. You know, as in the second half, that when you ping it around and you give, like Saka when he came on, looked so bright and efficient. I always say he's efficient, but he is. But you can whack it at him and he's going to control it. You know, they need more of that across the pitch, is that confidence to just ping it with a bit of pace on it, because, you know, they're technically very gifted players. That's what we should be playing into. Again, it's just a sense of cautiousness that, if I overhit it, they won't control it very well.
Isn't that what the likes of Odegaard and Havertz give you as well?
Yeah.
Such a shame not to have Odegaard in that game.
Yeah.
I don't know. Odegaard from 2 years ago, yeah. I'm not sure about his form this season. We haven't seen enough of him, unfortunately. Gunnerblog said starting 11, wrong. Subs showed it. It's Mark Goldbridge. Arsenal are better than City now, but that was a safety first approach. It's the noise is getting louder, because we're not going to win or lose the league based on 3-0 Forest, 5-0 Leeds this season. It looks like, you know, we've played our 2 rivals and we've dropped 5 points. That's more damaging.
There was a season under Ferguson when United won the league and they actually claimed very few points from the other traditional top 4, as it was then, because they literally just beat everyone else. Well, the problem is, since these 90, 100-point seasons have come in under Guardiola and Liverpool and Klopp and all that, actually these games do become difference makers. And like you say, it's not even necessarily about winning them, but it's certainly not about giving many points as you can to that. So, the Liverpool loss, hurts a lot, and City at home. And I think, like you said, it's about, hate agreeing with Goldbridge, but there was that sense. It was the first time I've gone to that game thinking, no, we're better than them, but we didn't show it. And I'm really disappointed.
And that's the selection, the team selection.
But the approach to some extent as well. The instruction.
Yeah, but they go hand in hand.
Well, it's personnel.
That's a cautious first
also
approach, isn't it? You play another defensive-minded midfielder player. Like Merino's. We've repurposed him as a goal scorer,
but he can be attack-minded.
Well, then play him up front.
Well, why? I think it's under instruction. I think it was get the ball, kill the momentum in the game and the chaos, knock it back and forth, horseshoe of death.
Create the momentum. I'm getting
but that's the instruction.
Yes, I know. I get that, and that goes. I agree completely. That's the instruction, and you can see that with the players he selected. That's what it. That's it is there for you. Can we talk about the Martinelli goal? Because, as you said, it's important not to lose to City. I mean, that would have been a proper disaster. So we drew, and we're going to pick our team for Port Vale. Or is it Wednesday we're playing Port Vale?
Yeah.
So we're going to pick our team, and I'll give a little teaser. I've picked Martinelli through the middle.
So have I.
Because I want. I don't want Gyökeres to play. I think Newcastle away would be tough. I think he ran a lot yesterday. Tough game. He needs a week break. But Martinelli through the middle. That was a fantastic run. The first touch was sublime. He had a little look. It was all instinct. He had a little and a pace to do all of that, to execute all of that the way he did.
Being leaned on by the centre half as well.
Yeah. And then to loop it over a 6'5" goalkeeper I mean, I didn't realise from where we were sat in the North Bank, I didn't know just how close to not going in it was. It was a lot, in the replays. I thought, bloody hell, that nearly tickled the inside of the post. I thought it was comfortably inside the post, so there was no like holding my breath, and I was just celebrating before it had crossed the line. What a lovely dink! We don't see lobs anymore.
No.
Just a beauty. But the Eze pass, and I want to say the Eze pass as well. He's got 2 assists so far, very different assists. The other one was with his left foot, first time across the box for Gyökeres, brilliantly controlled assist. And then that assist, very different again. He looked up, made eye contact with Martinelli, and with his right foot, lovely floated pass over the top. I thought it was just
sublime.
It's getting lost in the frustration of the drop points, but it was a fantastic goal.
And it was the point at which City, for the first time, I think, played that high line and didn't press Eze. He had all the time in the world. He got it.
Do you know why he had all the time? Do you know why he had all the time in the world?
Well,
did you watch it again? No, because Calafiori went down injured, and he stopped to say to the referee, and then Calafiori must have said something to him because we still had possession. And so because of that, he was about 10 yards deeper than he would normally have been. So he was in a position to take the ball. I don't know who gave him the ball. He was in a position to...
Yeah, knocked it to him. Whoever it was just knocked it to him.
Yeah.
And had time to look up.
Yeah.
That's one of the most difficult balls. I always say it, like a direct chip over, not on an angle, but directly over. And if you watch it, the ball is viciously spinning backwards because he knew that if he put like backspin on it, it would settle without bouncing through to the keeper. But Martinelli had touched it on the volley. He didn't even let it bounce. He caught it on the volley, and it killed it. It was just superb from. And
it was Martinelli's run that made the ball possible, and vice versa. It was, and that's why I want Martinelli to start through the middle, because he's similar in profile to Gyökeres through the middle. I think he would be on the shoulder of the last man, and he'd be making the runs into the channels as well. And look at the goal he got against Bilbao through the middle. Goal he got against, was it in the Bernabeu, Steph? Were you there?
I may have been at the Bernabeu, yes, absolutely right. I don't know if I've told you about that before.
He did have a spell through the middle a few years back, when he first started out, and he was getting a few headers, as I seem to remember, So he was, I'm not saying he's going to be a back-to-goal striker, but it offers us something different, doesn't it?
Well, but I just think, I don't know who the alternative is with Havertz out injured. I don't know.
And Jesus.
Trossard, false 90.
And Jesus, yeah. I'd be more excited about Martinelli. But anyway, so that just wanted to acknowledge the goal and the quality of the goal.
So we should, yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, it should be marked just as a moment in and of itself. And I really like seeing the videos afterwards. I didn't see at the time because the North Bank went absolutely mental, mainly through relief, probably more than anything. And then there was a real sort of determination to try and get going again. But when Raya goes up to celebrate with Eze and just pick him up off the floor and scream yes in his face, it's absolutely brilliant. That's.
But now the knives are out because we over celebrated. I've been hearing.
It's not a winner's mentality, Chris.
No,
we should have been going for the second goal. In fairness,
Zubimendi did.
Well, he tried to get the ball out, and they were wrestling it off of him in the net. Zubi was trying to get the ball out.
And I turned to Steph behind me after the cellar, and I said, "Right, one more. We need another one. This isn't enough." Even on 87, 88 minutes, I said to the guy next to me, I want 2 more goals. I don't want 1 more goal. I want 2 more goals. It was that. The frustration was already that deep. Obviously, that scene from Fever Pitch, well, you got to get the first goal before you get the second goal, kind of thing. So that's why I was celebrating the first goal, because I thought, well, no, this is the route to the second goal. You can't just get the second goal without the first goal. So I'll celebrate this one. But
and another positive is seeing Saka back. I think we need to acknowledge that as well, because he may not have got as many minutes with Madueke being injured. So really good to see him back. Like I said, effective,
and again,
efficient.
Looks good.
Really good.
And just on a point on that, Max Diamond wasn't on the bench, but he did play for the under-21s in a comeback win against I don't know,
Wolves?
I think, yeah, 3-2. And he is now the youngest ever goal scorer for Arsenal under 21s. And I don't know if I asked you this, Stef, in the ground. If I did, don't answer it. Chris, who did he replace as the youngest goal scorer for the under 21s?
Well, the obvious one might be to say Wilshere or Fabregas.
No.
Youngest. Saka.
Nope.
Is he homegrown? Is it homegrown?
Yeah.
Academy?
English. Yeah.
How long ago?
How long ago? I don't know when the goal was scored, but not recent, but
Nketiah, Reece Nelson.
Reece Nelson.
Oh,
There
okay.
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 Well done.
Rant number 2, Man City. Stoke City. I'm sorry. That was embarrassing. £500 million spent since January, and you play like that. If we'd done that...
Right.
We did do that. Down to 10 men at City. We were pilloried. Liverpool, Anfield. Only one team came to play football. Man City played 5-5. On the 76th minute, Haaland came off. And from that point on, it was a 5-5-0. Is that right? No, a 5-4-0. Is it 5?
No, 5-5 it was.
Yeah, 5-5-0.
Like
yes, I think there's got to be something in that other line. That was the 76th minute. And Guardiola's quote, sometimes you have to defend because your opposition's better. No, they were diving and time wasting and cheating. Silva, great player, but my God, he was so lucky to be still on the field and not having received it. I didn't see the tackle again, but someone said that was a red card tackle. Chris, you saw it on telly. I didn't see it again. I don't know.
He should have been sent off for having a ball thrown at him that hit him in his lowest
and he
stomach,
went down
he went down holding his face.
Who did that in the World Cup? Ronaldinho? Rivaldo, all those years ago.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, how City... I don't understand how City can be happy with that performance the way they set out. I really don't. I don't know. Or this is just a completely different iteration of Man City, and the Man City fans have been just wise to it a lot earlier than us. How did you think, Chris? You're watching on the telly, so you've got a slightly more balanced view.
Yeah, I suppose I'd look at it two ways. Yeah, it's you look at it, try and be objective and say, well, why are they doing that? But I felt kind of flattered almost afterwards, thinking, well, we've had that effect on them that they're playing like that. We've come a long way, because it certainly wasn't like that. I remember a few years ago when they were beating us at home. I think they were 2-0 up, and you could see them taking their foot off the pedal. And it's so humbling when a team does that. And it's almost like, well, we pity you, and we'll start taking a few players off on 60 minutes because we've got a game coming up next week. And it was so different. And I'm trying to see it on that from that perspective, is we should be kind of flattered by their...
And you know, my immediate instinctive response to that is like, and we bloody blew that advantage, didn't we? We blew that. Just a stat, Man City had 33% possession. That's the lowest ever in 17 years of Guardiola
Fewest
as a manager.
touches in the box as well, I think.
I've got that written down. They had 8 touches in our box. The most important stat is 1-1. But again, it just fuels that. Everything you just said there. Yeah, we take it as a huge compliment. But it's like...
Doesn't put any points on the board, does it?
It's like, yeah, okay, so we need to stop having an inferiority complex or suffering imposter syndrome. We are the best. Let's demonstrate that.
It goes back to what I think Arteta is instilling in them, either consciously or subconsciously. He's informing them of how to play by his own kind of the importance he puts into playing big teams, and something is permeating in that way and coming across in the way they play. I believe.
Should that evolve?
Well, it should, because eventually you want to believe that you're the best, and you want to start telling your team, no, we go from the start and we go for the juggler and we play to our strengths, and all the things that you've been saying you want to see come to fruition. But he's obviously not there yet.
He needs to... I don't know why this came up, but it comes up. The millionaire mindset. You feel and act like you have money before you actually do, and the money will be attracted to you. So he's waiting to be the best, as in to win something, and then he can behave like the best. And I think that's true in this case. No, we have a fantastic team and an amazing squad. We have every right to go into every game expecting to win it. I'm not saying we will win every game, but there's no opposition that we should be fearful of. Respectful, sure, but not fearful. And asking him to play an attacking 10 instead of Merino is not what's the word?
It's not tossing out
Careless.
the baby with the bathwater.
Yeah, it's not. It's not risky. It's not even risky.
No, like I said, it's balanced, and
Yeah,
yesterday's team was not balanced.
So on Man City, for me, I've got absolutely no problem with them coming and setting up and being a bit more defensive. Like you say.
Particularly when they're defending a lead.
When defending a lead as well, after only 10 minutes, okay? There's no problem with that. The same way I didn't have a problem with it 2 seasons ago when we went to their place and set up, for that 0-0, and I'm still haunted by that pass that Trossard didn't make to Martinelli, or Martinelli didn't make to Trossard. I can't remember.
we'd have won the league.
Should have. But what really wound me up was then seeing various quotes online from people who supposedly know the game because they've been involved in it and blah, 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 who criticised us for taking that approach 2 seasons ago, and even last season, despite being a man down with a lead to defend, away at City, the European champions as was, all of a sudden going, well, no, maybe this is a sign of Guardiola's growth, and maybe he's evolving, and some of his tactics, and blah, blah, blah. And it's the hypocrisy of it. I don't mind if you suddenly change your mind and go, oh, do you know what? Maybe I'm remembering a different kind of Man City, and I've just awakened myself to the fact that Guardiola's realised this team isn't as good as they were maybe a season or 2 ago. So you know what? Let's defend, or let's just respect that Arsenal finished above them and got further in the Champions League and are in a good space. So take it. Where that then flipped. Oh, and then Bernardo Silva. Don't get me started on that little rat. He was just horrible. There's a quote from him today going, "Oh yeah, the fixture list is unfair on Man City." Oh, cry me a bloody river. Honestly, what a. I mean, what do you want? Do you want sympathy? Do you want, you're not going to get it. You're the richest club in the world.
I can think of 115 reasons why he shouldn't have any sympathy.
Yeah, and the rest. But anyway, where that flips back onto Arsenal is the fact there's a phrase in poker about you've got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them. And I just feel like Arsenal, we've got a good hand, but Arteta's too afraid to go in on it. And he's so worried about what the other clubs are holding in their cards that he's just playing it safe. He just checks and he just matches. And it's just every now and again,
Steph,
at home.
Do you have confidence or faith that he will evolve? That he will
He
learn?
has done. Look, and as I said, there's praise to be put his way for just affecting it at half time. Because like we were saying, we knew there probably should be a change, but we were pretty convinced that there wouldn't be. There wasn't even a sense, normally when we know a change is coming, there's a player really intensely warming up at half time. They obviously did that behind the scenes and just made sure they were up to speed in terms of muscles rather than, touch. And so that sort of happened. So there was an acknowledgement. Maybe he realised in that first half, it's a different Man City now. And maybe just being behind was what it was. But he kind of has to. He's learnt so many lessons and he evolves and he changes. He's not rigid in his approach to a certain extent. But I worry he won't.
You said he has to, but then you think he'll pick Merino against Newcastle.
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Assuming Odegaard.
Yeah.
So that's telling me that you don't think he'll.
I worry he won't. And I don't know what it is. Whether it's just he's still feeling out some of the personnel. But I don't get it because Eze at Palace. This is Eze who scored the winner against Man City in the FA Cup final. If that's not pressure when it counts, then what is? We're playing Man City at home in the league in September. That's not the same as an FA Cup final. It's just not.
But for a club that's never won a trophy,
yeah, exactly. Look at the pressure on that.
Yeah, it's and that's why there is no logical explanation for not starting Eze against City. There isn't. I don't. And I don't know. Someone said to me, "We don't know the players like as well as Arteta does." I'm no like football brain at all in terms of tactics and coaching and so on. But you don't need to be to know that Eze could have played in that role. And you know what? We were right, because he played that role in the second half and played it far more impactfully than Merino did in the first half.
Yeah.
So, and that's without the running of Madueke, because had Madueke not been injured, I'm pretty sure Trossard would have been the one hooked, and Madueke would have gone to the left for Saka on the right, and Eze. So I still think he might have made a double change at that point, and we'd have had Saka on one side, Madueke on the other side, Gyökeres through the middle, Eze pulling some strings behind, still with that solid back four, and that's a lot more potent.
Yep.
Before the game, I was almost more taken aback by Trossard's inclusion than Merino's, to be honest. And I have to hold my hands up and sort of say that I thought Trossard had an okay game. He didn't play too bad. What he's symptomatic of is this narrative now around Arteta and his team selection and that caution and that handbrake. Because even though you play Man City, like Martinelli got praised so much for his out of possession work against Liverpool, away at Liverpool at the champions. Well, if you're so fearful of Man City coming and breaking on you because they've got Haaland, they've got Doku, then Martinelli's the one, isn't he? I mean, yeah, he came on as a finisher against Bilbao and did well, but that's a different context to a game against City, which could be the equivalent of like the Liverpool game, and I don't know, it just feels a bit muddled, and like, what's the direction? We want him to have some, as Troy Deeney once said, have some cojones.
Well, that's why I think the team selection against Newcastle will probably be the most eager, one of the most eagerly anticipated team selections for quite some time. I mean, you talk about PSG game, the Real Madrid games, there weren't a lot of options. He's got more options now.
I'm now wondering what level of stairs I'm going to be on when the team news comes through. I know it comes through about an hour and a half or an hour and 15 minutes before.
Yes, 3:15.
You have to set off fairly early in the morning at the bottom of the stairs at Old Trafford in order to get to the top by kick-off.
St James's.
St James's, sorry, not Old Trafford, St James's, yeah, absolutely. So that'll be interesting.
I haven't even mentioned United yet. who I've been reliably informed, if they win the early game, which they're playing away at Brentford on Saturday, will go second.
Wow.
Think about that one for a minute, gentlemen. Crisis. What crisis? They won't win at Brentford, so that's all right.
Don't know.
Yeah, I know. I'm joking. I was like, okay. Do we know anything else on that game itself?
Yeah. No, I suppose the only thing that occurred to me was, okay, what did we do last season against these teams? You know, we beat City comfortably, we drew at Liverpool, and we're going to have to make these points up somewhere else. I think I'm already looking at the games we drew last year and thinking we've got to win a lot of those. We need to start.
Well, I'm thinking we have to beat Newcastle on Sunday.
Wherever it comes from.
No, but we have to win that game. I don't
want to do definite, definitive. We have to win this.
Who are Liverpool playing?
Liverpool are playing Crystal Palace away. Crystal Palace, who are on an amazing run of form,
both unbeaten records there. Yeah.
Unbeaten. I heard a stat on the Totally Football show which amazed me. Since some date in December last year, so over the Christmas period to now, Palace have the most away points, more than us. Like they are very well coached, and they have a settled team, and they've evolved even beyond losing the likes of Elise and now Eze. Yes, they've kept Guehi. Mateta's in a rich vein of form. He scored again at the weekend. So they will give Liverpool, I think, probably their sternest test. It might be equivalent of the game that we gave them, where they needed a brilliant, 1 in 10 kind of free kick from Szoboszlai, so we will see.
When is that? When is the Liverpool Palace game?
I think it's Saturday, 3:00.
So I mean, we could be looking down the barrel of an 8-point gap going into kickoff. We have to beat Newcastle. I think we have to beat Newcastle anyway, regardless of what Liverpool do. Great if Liverpool manage to drop points for once. But on Liverpool...
Oh, I was just going to say, before you get to Liverpool...
Nice segue that was.
About the City game. Yes, I know, and you're doing very well. You forgot the YouTube thing at the start, but it's okay.
No, deliberately. This is our thing, Steph.
Sure, sorry.
I forget, you pointed out.
It's
funny.
Shtick.
If you'd have told me that, I don't know, 2 years ago, that in 2 years' time, Martinelli will be scoring a deep injury time equaliser against Man City, and you will be ecstatic for the moment of celebrating the goal, but then you will be pretty much grumpy for the next 24 hours, I would have said, you what? Why? That's mad, because it's City, and it's, not losing right at the death and things like that. But I am, and I can't shake that feeling. And like I say, what it felt like, and, game state kind of dictated it because of their early goal, but that felt more relieving than it did ecstatic. In the same way that we could go a goal down early to Fulham, say, and then score a late equaliser. Well, you celebrate in the relief of going, yes, finally we've got one back. But you then, once you stop and think about it, you go, come on, really? We're that's not great. Now, because it's City, that celebration was probably a bit more intense. But ultimately, no, I'm still annoyed. It's really annoying. Final thing. Sorry. Another thing I heard in looking at this, because you asked us at the start of the season, Holly, about these first 6 games. When the fixtures came out, we said these first 6 games, bloody hell, they're tough. Well, as it stands, we've played 5 of the 6. We've lost away to Liverpool and we've drawn at home to City. It's probably par. Isn't it? It's probably par.
If we beat Newcastle, it's par.
But I'm just talking about these 5 games is probably par.
Then
what we do with Newcastle, if we win at Newcastle, that's probably still par slightly.
A point at Anfield would be par. I agree with you there.
Maybe.
I can.
My head can rationalise losing at Anfield on an occasion. The disappointing thing is we haven't done for a couple of years. We've drawn. So that's why it is disappointing. And we were so close to doing so. But yeah, it puts so much emphasis on this last game because it's such a difficult start to the season.
Because 13 points from 18, I think, is decent from those opening 6 fixtures. Embedding a lot of new players as well and having to legislate for some key players out injured again. And it seems like it's continuing with Madueke. But
11 or 10... No, that's not. Doesn't feel good.
No. So a win. I think a win's imperative against Newcastle. They'll have Anthony Gordon back, but we'll talk about Newcastle game. I want to have a little rant at Liverpool because I like it. Look, I think the conclusion I've come to, and this is based on fact, not based on bias or opinion or Arsenal tinted glasses. It's fact. The officials want Liverpool to win the league again. That's a fact. Why are you two laughing? Let me read something for you, okay? I'm getting my book out, right? Let me read this, if I can read my bloody writing. When drawing or losing games this season, this is the amount of minutes that have been added on at the end of 90, okay? When Liverpool have been drawing or losing. 7, 12, 5, 7. When winning, going into stoppage time, 4 and 3. 3 against Everton. Everton, who I know 3 Liverpool players in the second half kicked the ball away, time wasting. Of course, that's not a rule anymore now, yellow cards for that. 3 minutes were added on. Do you know the last time 3 minutes were added on was 2 years ago in a game?
Any game
in the Premier League.
Really?
Yeah, I'm having that. I don't know who said that. I'll take it, whoever said it. Obviously found it somewhere online. I think Chelsea, apart from a Chelsea Wolves game, that was it. Everton player was booked for taking a free kick too quickly.
That's the one that gets me. Never seen it. That's the sort of thing that happens to us, and you never see it again. Will it happen to Everton?
Well, it has happened to us. That has happened to us because it's Liverpool have benefited from 3 minutes. Everton might have scored. Everton were, I think it was a nervy 2-1 win, wasn't it? Yeah. So the last time it happened was in 2023 for a Chelsea Wolves game. It's the first time this season there's been only 3 minutes added on at the end of a second half. Like, you can't argue with those facts, gentlemen. There's only one conclusion that you can logically and justly arrive at, and that
what I love is you're doing
the officials want Liverpool to win the league again. They obviously fed up with Man City and they don't like Arteta. We know that.
Yeah, I love the fact that you're doing a Rafa Benitez rant from the Rafa Merino years. I only speak in facts.
Is it not a bit odd?
Well, they're all from the northwest, so yeah. Apparently.
Or the northwest of Australia, as I found out last.
Well, they're just not good referees, and albeit I don't think there were any huge incidents for Atwell in our game to be getting too angry about, but it was just so predictable. When Donnarumma was taking ages over his goal kicks, I said to you, 80th minute, he gets booked. Well, I should praise Atwell. He went a bit earlier, 76 minutes. But it's so lazy. And he's not the only one. Lots of referees do it. A player takes ages, and the first port of call is to little point of the watch, okay? Next point of call is, come on, do the arm gesture, move, come on, as though it's quicker, okay? And then it's the one more time, little finger point, and then it's a yellow card on about 75, 80 minutes, because they know full well they're not going to give him a second yellow, because they bottle that every time. Not that I think, look, Donnarumma was taking...
Raya gets...
Pardon, well, yeah.
Wait till
Donnarumma was taking
yellows.
ages. We were taking bloody ages over throw-ins as well. Like, it wasn't even that egregious, to be honest, like, whatever. Because it smacks of hypocrisy that this whole rule about, the keeper can only hold on to the ball for 8 seconds. Why have we tried to speed up the game in that one particular instance, but nowhere else? Take a throw-in within 8 seconds. Take a goal kick off the ground within 8 seconds. Like, speed the game up if you really want to speed the game up. But they don't really want to speed the game up. They want to be seen to be doing something about speeding the game up. But they don't change anything. We've got a bunch of incompetent referees in this country, and Everton were at the mercy of it on Saturday. Booking a player for taking a free kick too quickly? What? As Grealish said, I've never agreed with Grealish so much in my life than that post-match interview he gave. He was like, I was just saying to him, I've never seen anything like that. Don't believe it. It's like, what? Are we? Oh, anyway, yeah. Sorry.
No, it's worth. But I do think Atwell was okay. I didn't. Again, like you said, I don't think we've actually suffered any egregious refereeing decisions this season so far. Am I missing one? Which is like only 5 games in, and that's how bad last season was. We didn't go 5 games last season without being on the wrong end of a ridiculous decision. So whether we're just better at playing the game, that part of the game. I don't know. I did think when Trossard threw the ball back at Silva, I thought, well, here we go.
Don't give him a decision to make.
But what I wanted him to do was 2 yellow cards for him and Silva, because Silva already had a yellow card. That would have been sweet.
Would have been nice, but I sort of understand why.
So we all agree then that the officials want Liverpool to win the league. Right, fine. We play Port Vale on Wednesday.
Oh, yeah.
Managed by Darren Moore. Striker Devante Cole, Andrew Cole's son. They're 19th in League One, 9 points from 8. Thanks, Steph. I knew none of that until you told me before we started recording, so sorted. Steph, who's going to start?
Lots of different people. It's kind of it's really easy to pick until it isn't. I'm not sure how the front line works with various injuries that we've got. So let's do the easy bit. Kepa in goal. If he's fit, at right back, Ben White.
He's on the bench, so...
Yeah, should be. Mosquera and Nkapie as I'm going with, for centre-backs, and then Lewis Skelly at left-back. Midfield 3, Waneri, Norgard, Merino for me, because that, for me, is a political decision, because I don't want Merino to start at Newcastle.
Also, he'd be playing a little bit deeper, so more natural position for him.
Yeah, and Waneri can be the one who progresses the ball. Front 3, Dowman, I think, definitely plays on the right. I have gone Martinelli through the middle, but again, it wouldn't bother me so much now that Madueke has picked up a knock to see him against Newcastle. But if he's doing well off the bench, why not? Maybe he is the finisher that we wanted. And then I really struggled to put anyone on that other side, because I don't want Saka anywhere near that game if we can help it, to be honest. So I looked at the under-21s teams for Wolves. I don't know who would be closest in contention. I probably should have messaged George Bird on Twitter Boy. I've gone Sago Jr. because he's more naturally in that position, I think. That'll do.
Okay. Chris?
Very similar. I suspect, if White's fit, he'll start at right back. My front 3, so exactly the same really throughout. Dowman, Martinelli through the middle, and Trossard left.
Yeah, so I've gone with Trossard left as well.
I mean, it probably will be Trossard, but I thought I'd be a bit...
I think a lot of our... I suspect Saliba will get a run out. It wouldn't surprise me if he started him and brought him off just because he needs minutes. But that's what he does. I'm not saying I would do that, but that's what Arteta does. Sometimes we'll predict a lineup for a cup game like this against Port Vale or whoever, and we'll see a relatively strong spine, for example.
Well, I went to Preston last year because in the next round, so it would be round 4, and we were baffled by the fact that we were winning the game, but he brought on Saka and Havertz. We were like, "What are you doing?" He just didn't need to do it. It was crazy.
But it's that thing of putting minutes into the legs, isn't it?
Until they break.
I'm over that.
Yeah, that's rubbish.
It's one of those sports science.
Well, it's
things.
clearly not. It's clearly not worked because
they broke.
Who
Exactly.
broke? Saka and Havertz. Like
everyone else gets away with it. Liverpool get away with it.
Yeah, Liverpool. Just lucky Liverpool. You can clip that bit. Lucky Liverpool.
Oh, I've got... After that last rant you did about Liverpool, you think I'm not clipping that up?
I might. Yeah, that was... No, it was I don't know. It was the referee one kind of gained traction on TikTok this time. But by and large, 99.99% of those comments were all fine. Like, they're all nice. They're all like kind of a bit bantery, a bit like rivalry. But that's fine. They're all... None of them got personal. I'm not sure that would be the case if you clip that and the Liverpool fans pile on. I don't care. No one likes me. I don't care. I am Millwall. Super Millwall. Steph, scoreline.
I've gone 3-0 Arsenal. I think Port Vale will, with the fact that they've started the season a bit iffily, will probably obviously prioritise that. Will do well for us. And actually, you look at that team, our shadow team is quite good, despite a few injuries.
It is. Chris?
4-0.
I've gone 3-1 just because I think we'll concede in every game we play. And we don't. But it'll actually be quite a relaxing watch.
Yeah.
It'll be nice to watch without stress.
Should be. You can just see the headlines. Arsenal crash out of... No.
Yeah, okay.
Something about the veil is lifted on Arteta's tactics or something. Yeah.
Isn't Port Vale Robbie Williams' team?
It is, yeah.
So is there a gag there with one of his songs? Couldn't tell you any song Robbie Williams sings.
Let Me Entertain You, Rock DJ, I don't know.
God, we are covering a gamut of things today, aren't we? Do you guys want to touch on the wonderful, to end on a high? You had the privilege of being invited to the Emirates, didn't you? Last week?
We did, quite bizarrely, spend a very, very enjoyable Friday morning and afternoon at the Emirates, being interviewed for the Welcome to the Weekend show for the Premier League, which goes out between 12 and 1 on a Friday every week. And for some reason, unbeknownst to the powers that be, they decided that we were going to be the voice of the Arsenal fan base on this particular Friday. But the day was just like, I mean, do I admit to this? Okay, I will. I'll own up to this. We were on the pitch, interviewed. It was just 25, 26 degrees. It was beautiful blue skies, glorious sunshine. We met North Banksy, the legend North Banksy. What a lovely guy, brilliant character. We were in the Tollington. We watched Martin Whelan, the landlord there, be interviewed. Great character as well. Great chat with him and his missus there. But shall I say this?
You wet yourself.
The highlight for me was driving into the car park under the stadium. I could not have been more excited. Like, it was.
Well, there is a social clip that you guys put together, isn't there, of Steph filming you as you drove in, and you do have the face of a child in.
There's
awe.
no acting.
No,
there's no acting. It's genuine joy. Steph, what were your highlights apart from videoing me?
I think my highlight was then seeing it when we saw the episode put out, and the Premier League put the little ident on the bottom, and that felt very like real and professional. And I'm just looking at it going, that's me.
That's my name with
that's
me
my
above
name.
it.
The North Bank podcaster. I'm a podcaster. Ooh, get that. No, it was. And just being on the pitch, mic in hand, Premier League foam on it. Oh, great. Loved
and
it.
a shout out to Nick, the floor manager, absolute character as well. Former Arsenal apprentice from the late 70s. You know, in the short time we spent with him, we'd be desperate to get him on the podcast. He had already so many stories to tell us.
He was great.
It was a character. But did you see the slightly less professional bit on the actual programme itself, where we had to hold our and then we just followed Io's cue, the presenter's cue, and we broke from that pose. But that was in the background in the studio. You could see us kind of and breathe and fall because it was live. We were interviewed live.
Live, yeah.
Live. Anyway, and
Ao the presenter
proud.
should say that as well. Ao the presenter was lovely and very welcoming
and he's a gooner as
enthusiastic.
well.
Another Arsenal player, yeah, Arsenal fan, I should say.
And Steph, well done. You did predict the right score.
Yay! Well done, me.
So did I, but I just didn't do it on the telly.
It was slightly funny because being there and interviewed about it, and because I'm in an Arsenal shirt and I'm on the pitch and they're interviewing us, kind of, representing the Arsenal fan base at that point, I wanted to be more bullish at that moment, but in my head I went, oh no, on the preview pod I said 1-1, so I've got to stick with that, haven't I? 1-1. And they went, oh right, okay, fine.
I predicted 3-2.
You did say 3-2. You were hoping for that comeback, I'm sure, just so that we had that.
Well, you did the pod community proud.
Well, thanks, Chris. Appreciate that.
It's on. We find it on our YouTube channel, which is where, Steph?
It's at North Bank Pod on the YouTube. Give us a subscribe. Subscribe, please.
Yeah, 1,000 by Christmas we want.
Yeah.
Nearly there.
Yeah. I think Bon Jovi said it right. We're halfway there. There you go. Another musical reference.
Okay, so it's Port Vale on Wednesday. We'll reconvene on Thursday. We'll have a little look back at the fun from the Wednesday and a serious look ahead to Newcastle on the Sunday. Another huge game in the offing. Thanks for the chat. I'm not sure I feel any better, but it's always nice to chat to you two. So thanks for that, and I hope it's all right listening to us three idiots. And enjoy the next few days. Enjoy the Arsenal where and when you get it. See you next time. Bye.
Bye.
See ya.
The North Bank, an Arsenal podcast. Subscribe, rate and review on your app, and find us on your socials at North Bank Pod. Email hello@thenorthbankafc.com and check out our website, thenorthbankafc.com. Produced by the Podcast Company.